Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
Nunberg on grand jury testimony duty as an American, whether I like it or not. Former Trump campaign advisor Sam Nunberg on Saturday pushed back on criticism that his media blitz over a subpoena from special counsel Robert Mueller was a meltdown, adding it was always his intention to comply with the ongoing Russia investigation. "People say I had a meltdown on TV, I melted TV down that day," Nunberg told ABC News reporter Tara Palmeri. "I wanted to show what this independent counsel, this independent investigation does to people like me." Nunberg on Friday testified before a grand jury for more than 6 hours in the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential campaign. Complying with the subpoena, Nunberg said, was something he felt he needed to do as an attorney and was his duty as an American, whether I like it or not. If he did not comply, he risked being jailed. On Monday, Nunberg publicly released his subpoena and flooded the cable news airwaves in a day-long campaign with his repeated declarations that he was going to stand up to Mueller. In an evening interview, CNN anchor Aaron Burnett asked if Nunberg had been drinking. He denied the accusation. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders told reporters then that Nunberg had not worked in the White House and re-emphasized there had been no collusion between Trump's campaign and the Russian government. Despite Trump's insistence, Nunberg said the Russian investigation is not a witch hunt. "There's a lot there's a lot of truth," Nunberg said. "I don't believe this leads to the president." Warren worries Kim will take advantage of Trump in talks. Senator Elizabeth Warren says she's worried North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will take advantage of President Donald Trump in any face-to-face talks, especially given the current flux in the State Department. "Let's start with what the Trump administration has done," the Massachusetts Democrat said in an interview aired Sunday on NBC's Meet the Press. "They're moving toward diplomacy. I think that's a really good move. There is no military-only solution to the problems presented by North Korea, and I'm not the only one who feels that way." But, she added, the U.S. is currently facing a decimated State Department and doesn't have an ambassador to South Korea or an assistant secretary for the region. And it's critical to have officials who are familiar with the economy, history and language involved in any negotiations, she explained. "I want to see our president succeed, because if he succeeds, America succeeds. The world is safer," Warren said. "But I am very worried that they're going to take advantage of him." North Korean leaders have been trying to meet with the U.S. president for decades, and this would-be meeting is a win for them, Warren said. "But there are steps that can be taken before any meeting," she added, "to ensure the U.S. also benefits. I would like to see the State Department do its job, and I'd like to see a president that works with the State Department so we can have a truly comprehensive response here that makes some sense," Warren said. "There are things we could ask North Korea before this meeting, to say, show us, verifiably, show us how it is that you have frozen your nuclear program," she said. "Then you get to meet with the President of the United States." The primary focus of these talks should still be on the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, she added, and reducing any threat North Korea poses to the U.S. and the rest of the world. Justice Department proposes banning rapid-fire bump stock. The Trump administration said Saturday it has taken the first step in the regulatory process to ban bump stocks, likely setting the stage for long legal battles with gun manufacturers while the trigger devices remain on the market. The move was expected after President Donald Trump ordered the Justice Department to work toward a ban following the shooting deaths of 17 people at a Florida high school in February. Bump stocks, which enable guns to fire like automatic weapons, were not used in that attack. They were used in last year's Las Vegas massacre, but have since become a focal point in the gun control debate. The Justice Department's regulation would classify the hardware as a machine gun ban under federal law. That would reverse a 2010 decision by the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives that found bump stocks did not amount to machine guns and could not be regulated unless Congress amended existing firearms law or passed a new one. A reversal of the department's earlier evaluation could be seen as an admission that it was legally flawed, which manufacturers could seize on in court. Even as the Trump administration moves toward banning the devices, some ATF officials believe it lacks the authority to do so. But any congressional effort to create new gun control laws would need support from the pro-gun Republican majority. A bid to ban the accessory fizzled last year, even as lawmakers expressed openness to the idea after nearly 60 people were gunned down in Las Vegas. Some states have sought their own restrictions in light of the inaction. A ban on bump stocks was part of a far-reaching school safety bill signed by Florida Governor Rick Scott, a Republican, on Friday that was immediately met with a lawsuit by the National Rifle Association. The powerful group has said it supports ATF regulations on the accessory but opposes any legislation that would do that same. The NRA did not immediately return calls for comment Saturday. Calls mounted for a bump stock ban after the Las Vegas shooting, and the Justice Department said in December it would again review whether they can be prohibited under federal law. Trump told officials to expedite the review, which yielded more than 100,000 comments from the public and the firearms industry. Many of the comments came from gun owners angry over any attempt to regulate the accessory, a move they view as a slippery slope toward outlawing guns altogether. The proposal still needs the approval of the Office of Management and Budget. Pompeo US making no concessions to North Korea. CIA Director Mike Pompeo says the U.S. won't be making any concessions to North Korea ahead of any talks with President Donald Trump. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un must continue to allow us to perform our military necessary exercises on the peninsula, and then he's got to make sure that he leaves on the table that discussion for denuclearization, Pompeo said on Fox News Sunday. These are real achievements, he added. These are conditions that the North Korean regime has never submitted to in exchange for conversations. Any discussions between Trump and Kim will play out over time, Pompeo said, but the first negotiations would likely set the tone for what arrangements will be deemed acceptable. Make no mistake about it, he said. While these negotiations are going on, there will be no concessions made. In the meantime, Pompeo said, the U.S. will continue to take steps to disrupt the North Korean economy and pressure the regime. Those efforts will continue, he added, and we will see how the talks and negotiation proceed. Flake pushes bill to block Trump tariffs. Senator Jeff Flake is pushing legislation to block President Donald Trump's new tariffs on steel and aluminum, declaring he won't back any exemptions put forward by the administration. The problem is, when you say, all right, let's have tariffs, but let's couple that with uncertainty, that's almost worst. I mean, those are dual poisons to the economy, the Arizona Republican said Sunday on NBC's Meet the Press. You know, tariffs are awful. Tariffs married to uncertainty is probably even worse. Allowing one person to have nearly total control over tariffs is not the way to do business, Flake said. While it would be difficult for Congress to reach a majority on a bill to block the tariffs, it has to try, he said, citing congressional success in the 1970s overriding President Jimmy Carter's tariffs on oil. With Trump's trade moves, Flake said it's becoming harder to make the case that the Republican Party is the party of free trade. Free trade is rarely popular out on the stump, he said. But usually, after the campaign, the Congress gets together and says, all right, let's pass trade promotion authority or let's pass this trade agreement. I think we're going completely in the wrong direction,